could have died, but the cops didn't care. Another cop hit me over the head and put me in a coma for 13 hours. The Cantorini's men came down that street wanting to kill people. My name is Mark Covell. I'm an Indymedia journalist, and I was present at scuola Diaz on the night of July 21st, 2001, and I was almost killed there by the police. I'd gone into Pertini about 10 p.m. that night just to say goodbye to some friends, and I was still there at about 11:30 when an Italian came running into Diaz Pertini to say there was a raid happening. So me and an Indymedia friend, we decided to try and get back to our laptops in Diaz Pascali across the road. He made it across the road and I didn't. You could hear the sounds of like hundreds of police coming down the street beating their shields. You could hear the boots. You know, I tried to present my credentials as a journalist, but they said, you know journalists, you black bloc, we killed black bloc. So I knew, yeah, it was going to be like a really hard time trying to stay alive. What they should have done was just ask me for my identification and then maybe arrested me and removed me to a safe place. But they came out, Cantorini's men came down that street wanting to kill people. Yeah, a few minutes passed. There's a cop that came from the southern end of the VSCZ Adicisti, and he kicked me in the rib cage. He broke 8 of my ribs on the left side, shredded my left lung. That started like a lot of massive internal bleeding. And then there's this carabinieri cop that came out of Pascali, and he shouted "Basta, basta." I've never met this guy. I'd love for him to come forward and say, for me to say thank you to him. Many of the police that were in the street ran into the courtyard and they started smashing windows and breaking the doors down. I remember a lot of screaming coming from the school. Another cop that came up from the southern end and he kicked me in my mouth, took out 16 teeth, and another cop hit me over the head and put me in a coma for 13 hours. I was then left there with no medical aid for the next 30 minutes. And I could have died. But the cops didn't care. And our same attackers from the school started to come to the hospital. They followed us. Of the 93 victims at Diaz, 62 were transported to San Martino Hospital, and over 50 of them were illegally removed over the next 2 nights. Taken to a place called Bolsonaro. Me, I was lucky. I was too badly injured. It was October 2002. 79 Italian police were arrested. But this evidence then gave rise to an 11-year titanic process and trial here in Genova. We finished after 11 years convicting 27 commanders for Diaz and another 40 cops for Bolsonaro. More police than any other trial in history anywhere in the world. These cops, they made so many mistakes and they made it in such a public way. I continue to work as an international conflict journalist for Indymedia. I'm also looking to reopen my attempted murder case. It's also important to meet the new generation of Italians. It's taken 20 years for the whole world now to realise the impact of climate change, but the protests really started here 20 years ago. I have a lot of optimism that the Italian youth will do something good and they'll put pressure on the government here.